Welcome back for another episode of Preacher in the Dugout. My name is Derek. Across from me is my brother Eric, and beside me, my father Steve. Chris is with us tonight. He's behind the cameras and on a hot mic, though he claims once again that he will not have much input, which typically means he will have a fair amount of input.
I'll give him 2.5 minutes.
Yeah. We're going to do something that we want to do tonight, or this morning, whenever you might be listening or watching. We're just going to talk a little bit of baseball. This was something we decided on a couple weeks ago, because it was dominating the conversation and it was on the TV when we were meeting up, and we decided we wanted to talk a little baseball. You never know what you're going to get here at Preacher in the Dugout. So
Preacher in the Dugout.
We pull things out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Or everywhere. We pull them out of everywhere.
So baseball is actually something that has come up on the podcast quite a bit, which shouldn't really come to the surprise of very many people. We've talked about Steve's illustrious high school career, the famed home run, alleged home run. At this point,
That was
Vince Scully was on the call.
there was a reason I was looking at my phone just through the last couple of minutes, and just to verify that was our 6th episode.
Oh.
So go back and then listen. If you haven't heard any of that, go back, listen to the 6th episode, then listen to every episode in between, and then come back to this. No, I'm kidding.
Marathon it like Lord of the Rings style or something.
Get you good popcorn and right in front of the fireplace, Chris.
But no,
He was there for it.
We've talked baseball. I think my son has been involved the last couple spring and fall. I know Eric, yours was for the first time this spring, and I just know we've talked it a few times on the podcast, but nothing really in depth. And don't worry for any of you who are we're getting ready to click off of this. We're not gonna go over the rules or anything like that. It's just going to be conversation that's kind of centered around baseball, but it's going to be about life, because baseball has been a huge part of our lives. Nothing beyond high school for any of us in this room, but still a big part of our lives. Nonetheless, it's going to be an even bigger part of for those who don't know, my son has been playing, since, I guess, was it 5U fall and spring, and then 6U fall and spring, and he is in love with the game. Just
He is.
cannot get enough of
He's
it.
a baseball man.
And he's starting to pay attention to watching baseball games. He's kind of taking it to that next level, and getting interested in who the players are and that sort of thing. So it's been really cool to watch. We are going to take it to the next level again with him. He graduates, whatever. He's done with kindergarten this week, and I'm going to take him to his first Braves game on Friday. So
this week.
Yeah, hoping that it doesn't rain. He's going to have a blast. His sister's going to stay with somebody back here, so because she's not, she's 3 and not really all that interested, whatever. But baseball games, going to Braves games, Eric, was a massive part of our childhood. I think. I know, we made it a point to go every year. I don't remember a year that we didn't go to at least one.
Later on.
But I'm just talking about growing up.
Yeah.
We always went
Every
to.
year.
They were at Braves were at Turner Field at that time. I remember a couple of games at Fulton County Stadium.
Oh, really? I don't remember.
Which would have been very little.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years old.
Wow.
Remember David Justice knocking one out of the park there. I also remember the Braves throwing the ball all over the field in the first inning of one of those games, but they came back to win. Okay. Because I don't remember when the first time it was that the Braves lost when we went to a game.
We were in either late middle school or high school.
Before I ever saw the Braves lose in person. And then the floodgates open, and like,
We got pounded.
yeah.
Several years in a row.
Yeah.
All the time.
So, and now they're actually more likely to lose when we go
Yeah.
than they are to win. I think we had a win 2 years ago.
I think
Year before
that's
last.
So we've picked the tradition back up. I don't know, when did we start going
at
again?
least 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah. And I think they've won twice since we've been going as a group in like our adulthood.
Yeah, I think that's right. Because
think
they
they've
won in
won.
2021, which is the year we won the World Series.
That's right.
We're down to our last strike and won that game. And then, like you said, not this season, last season. They
Yeah.
won.
Okay.
Yeah, we've seen a few brutal ones
And
too.
yeah, they got shut out this year when we went. Is sandwiched between like a whole bunch of other wins that they had, and the one that
Just
we went to.
they played the Cleveland Guardians, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. We went Saturday when they gave up no runs, and they just obliterated them on Friday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, like monkey stomped them.
Well, even Chris got to go with us that time.
Yeah, Chris went.
He got to share in the pain this time with us. So
Your thoughts, Chris?
yeah,
Thought for your thoughts?
I miss that cotton candy.
Yeah. Chris did down some cotton candy.
Oh man,
That's part of. But we're gonna make a stop by Bucky's on the way. That's a big hit on the way to Atlanta, and get over there Friday. It's supposed to be Friday night fireworks.
get there early.
Hoping that it doesn't rain. Well, you can't get there super early. The parking lots don't open until 5:30 Eastern because it's a work day.
Oh, 5. You're talking about this Friday?
Yeah,
that's right.
and that's probably good. Like you really don't want to, as much as he's into baseball and will have a blast. Like you really don't want to overestimate the amount of time you need, like in the Battery and the surrounding area. Yeah, you. At that age, you're just not.
So
you're
yeah,
not gonna need
enough
it.
to get him the full picture of it. But hoping
See the crowds and like feel the energy, and then
So hoping for a couple of opposing pitching changes in the as it gets dark. They go to the LED lights, and all that sort of thing. That should
cool.
be, hoping bringing a kid will mix up whatever non-offensive juju we got going on here with the Braves. So
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad Isaac can go to his first game.
yep, like I
And I
said,
think Carver is going Saturday. His cousin is going with Ashton and Caden. So that'll be he was talking about that today, about how excited he was about his first game.
I guess
They're going on Saturday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
it's kids run the bases on Sunday. I had a little bit of regret there that I didn't sign up for that one. Isaac would have been all over.
We'll have to do that.
Yeah,
We'll have to do that at some point.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
That's
great.
insane. Yeah,
Be great.
to be able to do that. Yeah.
did we do that one year? I think we there was a run the bases one. I thought.
I don't know that we did it. I don't know that we ran them.
The one time you ran in Truist Park was when you did a 5K.
Yeah,
and
been on
ended
the
up in
field.
Truist Park, but yeah, that didn't have to do with the ball game though.
Nothing at all to do with the ball game.
We went to the game later that day.
That's true.
Yeah.
We did. That's right. Yeah. I think I was one of the last people to come in on the 5K.
That's not really true. That's not really true. There are plenty of people that came in after.
Yeah, there
you.
was quite a few people, but I wasn't in the upper class. Let's put it that way.
So what?
I was told by my sons that the course would not have a lot of hills in it that time.
They did
And,
change the
they changed the
switched
course.
the course on you.
Course.
And they switched the course on me. I remember after about my third hill thinking, somebody did not know
Yeah, we were not aware.
how to prepare me.
I was talking a little bit when we first opened it up, like kind of about how baseball has been a big part of our lives, and I think you always hope a little bit that your kids will have a similar interest that you do.
Yeah.
But if they don't, whatever. But part of you always kind of like roots for them to want to see the things that you do. But your dad wasn't the world's biggest baseball fan, right?
He wasn't, and he was never a fan like I've been. when I was growing up, we did not have television, but we had radio, and I would listen to the Braves a lot of nights on radio. But he was never somebody that sat down with me and listened
That
to
wasn't
him.
something that he was.
No, and he never really in football. Don't get me talking about football.
No, I know.
He
I know.
never.
I know he wasn't in on that.
He never basketball, none of that. So he played softball. You know, he played softball
Like
growing
adult
up. He
league,
grew
yeah.
up in a family like that was pretty good at softball and so forth. But I don't know why he never made the switch. But in terms of I remember playing in little league ball and softball. He played softball too, and they were in the same where we were, a little small one-horse town, one field town, and he played softball in the same field I played baseball, even high school baseball. They played softball so we were there at the ballpark almost 2 or 3 nights a week, you know, in the summertime. Now, ours didn't start in the spring. Ours was all summer. So it was after school was out, we started our stuff. So he would go there. He would come and watch my games. Speaking of the home run, he was working and he couldn't get to the game in time to see my one home run.
So we officially have no witnesses. I mean,
Oh yeah, it's locked in, bro. It's locked in. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so no, I don't understand. He certainly, when it came to like the Braves or something like that, I never remember him being rah-rah or really didn't have much of a conversation.
Y'all didn't go to
with.
games growing up, obviously.
We did not.
Yeah.
I went with some of the little league teams.
Yeah.
I think the first time when I was about 8 years old.
Okay.
I did go up to Fulton County Stadium.
Yeah.
And I remember doing that. But I don't remember doing it much. We might have done it. I might have done it 2.
Everything
maybe 3
was in
times.
black and white then, right?
Right. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. At the game. You know, at the game you could see color. But,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
but,
Where are the first down markers?
I do remember that the first game, I think the first team we played when I went with Asia was the Cardinals. I do remember that.
Okay.
So, of course, it made a pretty big impression on me. But I went, but even then, my dad did not go.
So the tradition starts with you then, is what you're saying.
It did,
Yeah.
pretty much.
There's a
Pretty much.
there's a as a dad too. There's like it's kind of a big deal, or maybe you make it a big deal in your head. I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
With your, especially like your firstborn son, to like playing something that you love, whether he necessarily even like loves it or not, like there's still something special about that.
It really is.
Like I'm grateful that first of all that Nate was excited to play, and then second of all that like he liked it more and more throughout the season. I thought that was great. But yeah, there's something different about watching them do something that you love, and it's kind of hard to explain. I think watching his experience this year at 6 years old, I know with our second son, I'll probably get him on the field a little quicker. I mean, it's now like I got a bit bigger sense of urgency getting him out there. Of course, Nate has played some other stuff, but yeah, when he kicked it into baseball gear, it was it hit different for me.
There's a unique it's a unique feeling, I guess, and some of the nostalgia kicks in, but like that first couple weeks of spring and like the baseball, the little like the rec league baseball park energy. It's just like different.
Opening day.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
yeah, that's
I was
cool.
like, oh man. I was like, yes, yes.
Cool.
Like,
really
yeah.
cool.
There's something about it that's just that's very different.
And I think, I think the fact of doing it in like my dad, I think he played sandlot ball pretty much and stuff like that when he played. But there's something about making, with uniforms and teams and that kind of stuff that kind of started. He let me participate in that. I remember riding my bike 2 miles into town, even until I was like 12 years old, to practice, and that kind of stuff. And he was cool with that. Now, he didn't take off from work to see me play, and he didn't do all that kind of stuff. But he was not. He didn't. You know, he was not anti me playing. But one thing that we could not do, we were not allowed. Like if we ever had, we never did. But if we would have ever had a Wednesday night game, we could not have played it because we had to go to. And interestingly enough, the people at my church are very conservative. I grew up Mennonite. They were not crazy about anybody playing organized sports. That was kind of a no-no, honestly. And in fact, when I played, I was one of the first ones in our little church to have done that, to play organized ball.
Steve, you caused a church split.
Yeah, well, not
At
really.
8 years old.
But they pretty much ignored me about it.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like something you could celebrate.
What was the thinking about that? Like, what was it? They probably wouldn't. It's probably
was too
baseball. If
worldly.
it's soccer, they
No, it
probably
was-
would
no, it
have
was-
received it.
oh,
Been more
soccer?
receiving of it. Yeah, they would have probably.
There was nobody.
no.
There was nobody playing soccer in the 1960s.
They probably would. They probably would have.
Georgia,
They probably
in
would.
South Georgia.
They probably would have loved it.
Yeah.
There
Just to be
was
honest.
nobody.
Everybody.
No, there was nobody playing
You
soccer.
couldn't have played it even if you wanted to. I
Yeah.
don't think.
Oh yeah. Even if you loved it, you would have had no.
I mean,
you
you're
would
just going to have to face it. Even though you like soccer, it doesn't have the history baseball does. I'm sorry.
Well,
in the United States,
I was gonna
in
say,
the United
let's-
States, I'm
let's
talking
go
about.
caveat
more
history
history
than
than
I'm talking about in the
baseball.
United
Only in
States.
the world.
Yeah, it's got more history in the world. Yeah,
But
for
that's
sure.
like it's baseball, apple pie, and Chevrolet. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, come on. You know, it's America.
I would like to take umbrage with Chevrolet.
I don't want a Chevrolet. Was one of my favorite brands growing up.
Anyway, my truck.
You know, it's. I find it interesting because I hear you baseball folks talk, and
What do you mean, you baseball?
you know what I'm talking about, and the people that hear me know what I'm talking about.
What do you mean, you people?
You people, you over there, you over there. So like, it's like if you don't experience it, then you don't get the culture of it. You know what I mean? Like, I have no connection to it. Like, so where does it happen? You guys were talking a little bit, and you know, you talked about the sights and the sounds. I mean, I'm sure there's that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like different sounds. When we went to Truist Park, and I got to see what 700 million built. That was kind of nice. I didn't realize it took so many people to put on a game, like just a freaking game. You know what I mean? And I was
big
like,
ones are
so I was taking it all in. But even on a little molecular level of like, you call it park ball or whatever, like the excitement around, like, so explain that to, like, because I don't get it. Like, is it just having your kids there? Or is it there's like pageantry to the sport?
There definitely is pageantry to it, but also like you got to think about it's different for different people, right? So somebody else is probably going to feel something similar about a different game on a different field, right? But like, so for me with baseball, I grew up playing it. I loved it since I can remember loving anything. And so all those moments, like everything comes flooding back when you're on the field and the game, like that very first game is starting. My son's very first game is starting. I'm down there on the field. We're in like this. They have their field setup that they're currently on right now is really cool. It's like sunken ends, like the seats are up above, and like the bleachers are packed with parents on opening day, and it's like just like good vibes everywhere. You can hear a million bats like hitting balls from batting cages and all that kind of stuff, and it's just like
There's some distinct sounds in baseball, too.
and so
There's
that kind
distinct
of brings
sounds.
it all. Yeah.
There's
a lot of
the
stuff
other
that
thing
pulls it
about
together.
baseball is it's a rare combination between an individual sport and a team sport. In most sports, like football, soccer, and so forth, everybody is moving on every play. In baseball, you can have a play where there's only 2 or 3 or 4, or maybe only 2, the pitcher and the batter, perhaps, and the catcher, but then there is this sense of team because it impacts all the team. And so sometimes you have to call on each other. but not on every play. You know, a first baseman is not in on every play. A second baseman is not in on every play. Right fielder, center fielder, left fielder, they're not in. They have to pay attention and be alert to participating. So there's a way that it's an individual sport, it's a team sport. I think that's different for sure than like soccer or basketball or football. And there's some of that in football, but you know, a lineman has to block every play. So there's most of the team is involved. They may not touch the ball, but they have to be involved. Where in baseball, it's a little more distinct at times about individual play. I think that's one difference that you would have. Of course, that also leads to you only get to hit 3 or 4 times. You know, like, so if you strike out twice, you're only going to get one more chance to do it. So I don't know if that makes it somewhat different or not. It's one distinction for me that I've noticed, and in it also means that you can be a part of it, but you don't have. It's not as intense. Every play is not as intense as it would be in some sports. That's my opinion. I don't know. What do you think? Is that way off?
Trying to get back to like the way you originally asked the question too. I'm trying. What I'm trying to do is like, in my mind, is kind of parse out what makes it different, if it is different enough from other sports, because it's not love for the game, like I said, right? Because lots of people love other sports as much as some people love baseball, right? So it's not like that. It's not that it makes it this universally accepted as a superior sport. You know, it's nothing like that. I think what came to my mind when you asked that question is there is a little bit difference in the sport in the way that like anticipation builds. So if you think about it, like you're a soccer guy, right? Mm-hmm. You watch the build up going down the field, and like you can see the pieces moving, and if you've got like a look at the whole view, the whole field, and then the ball, like you see somebody going to make a pass, you know they're making a pass, and they slip it into the final third, and that's great. And then the anticipation really hits when somebody's in the box and you can tell he's pulling the trigger, he's going to shoot, right? And then it's like there's like that hush, and then while the ball's in the air, and then, you know, back of the net, like that's when the anticipation is. Like with baseball, it's you don't get as much of that build up. Like it's all so sudden, and like everything can change in an instant. And it's not a perfect metaphor because obviously everything can change in an instant in a soccer game or basketball or whatever. But like you can be down, like you can be down 0-2, and we're down to our last strike, but you can still win a game. Like the opportunity, like the opportunity is still there. If you're down a goal in soccer and you've got 3 seconds left, well, and the ball's all the way on the other side, well, it can't physically get there. That's not a great example, but like there's always a chance, there's always an opportunity. And so I feel like the anticipation builds. I'm not going to say better. I'm just going to say differently. And like there's parts of it that's a lot more sudden, and the game can change on a dime, especially when your 6-year-olds are playing it.
Yeah, that's true.
And so yeah, like there's a different energy because you're always there's something is always on the cusp of happening.
Yeah, it seems like to me.
I don't know if that's right or not, but that's kind of just like what came to my mind.
So, you guys watch different sports, but you think you watch baseball differently than you watch like football. Like when I would sit with my grandfather and watch, he would do it as he was older, I think as a way to relax. Mm-hmm. But I could tell that he was seeing stuff that I wasn't seeing. like he was watching the game within the game, kind of, you know what I mean? And so different aspects of the game, as opposed to we're just watching the end result. You know what I'm saying? And I guess you could watch any sport like that, but it seems like to me, and I'm sure there's casual baseball fans, but the people that really have it in their DNA, they seem to like to watch those sort of the chapters in the book. You know what I mean? Like the different things that are going on, and the. I actually told my dad I didn't like baseball because there was no strategy, and he didn't talk to me for 5 years.
Good.
Well,
that's probably
good
just
for Mike. I'm glad to hear it.
Wrong.
yeah, that's right.
But also, I'll go
Such
to
a
what
gross
Eric
error.
said.
I don't blame him.
What Eric said too about some of the suddenness, like there can be a little bit of a like any sports. Obviously, there can be like a high when things are going well, but some of that suddenness goes like I was one of Isaac's favorite players right now is Michael Harris, who plays for the Braves, and I don't know why he just kind of like latched onto him, and the other day it was 0-0 third inning, and I'm like making dinner, and it's on the TV, and I'm like looking down, and Dad, Michael Harris is batting. I'm like, oh great, whatever, and all of a sudden, crack, boom, scream. Isaac's home run, Michael Harris, home run, like, but you went from 0 to full blown, like just complete excitement in an instant without ever being like, cause like in football, you're like, oh man, this drive is looking good. We're going to punch this in. Now, obviously you'll have the kickoff return or like
and
the
that's
long
the
punt,
ones that are like,
but those are the ones that get the
shelf,
huge pop. But like, and you still have some of that in baseball. Like you can kind of tell like, oh, this pitcher's kind of losing it. Let's get, or a certain pitcher's dominant and that sort of thing. But there's just like there's a lot more suddenness to it, which can be exciting. It can also be, again, to your point, what you said before, it can result in some things and moments that are very, very, very boring because there's not suddenness. So like when we went to the game and the Braves lost 5-0, there was absolutely nothing. There was no sudden moments in that. When they got a hit, you're like, finally they got a hit. But then, the next guy grounds into a double play or something like that. And so I think there's a lot of that kind of stuff. If you pay attention to it enough and watch it enough, those moments kind of reel you in.
It does also have as one of the dads from one of the guys that played ball with y'all in high school said, he said, baseball's a negative sport too. In other words, if you hit 3 times out of 10, you're considered a great hitter in the major leagues. If you hit 4 out of 10, in college, if you hit 5 out of 10 in high school, you're considered just top of the line. You miss it 5 times. You missed 5 times.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's considered success. So in some ways, it's a negative sport. And one thing that came to me about why do we like it is I think part of what I like is the grind. I know that may sound kind of weird. I'm not saying there's not grind in other games, but it's the grind. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I struck out this time, but got to come up the next time and, got the same guy and, it's a challenge,
Yeah. You want to know a difference that caught me off guard? And so when my wife played soccer, she played soccer all through college. So,
she's a much better athlete than I was.
Yes. So when I was first learning, really like getting into soccer, actually being at games. So like before then we would watch the World Cup, and that sort of thing. Love the World Cup, but like actually being at games and this is not a knock on this in soccer culture. It makes total sense. I'm not saying anything like that. That it's a negative thing. But you know what bugged the fire out of me when I was first attending soccer games?
There was no bat.
Cheering failure.
Oh yeah.
Build up. Terrible shot. Oh yeah. All right. Good. Good effort. Good.
Great.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Good build up. I'm like, Missed it. I don't get this.
Good effort. Yeah.
Fail. Like, I mean, I don't mean it that bad. Obviously, there was some good play involved, but it's like, yeah. And I get why you're cheering. Let me say I understand it now. Okay, but when I first, like, this was a brand new sport, like pretty much a brand new sport for me. I was like, I don't get this at all.
No, yeah,
we're cheering the fact that we didn't get it done.
I never remember Coach Jackson, who was one of my coaches, cheering after I struck out and came back to the dugout. Hey, you almost hit the ball, buddy.
I'll just give
none of that.
I'll just give a little caveat.
None of that.
You come to understand that momentum also exists in that sport as well.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
just different.
Yeah, it's totally different, and it's like it's something that you have to catch on.
It speaks to the fact that we didn't play it growing up because we don't understand that.
Exactly.
Or didn't understand that. But I, to your point, I remember going to having watched soccer with people or whatever, and they'd be like, sending across and nice ball, and you're like, yeah, but the other guy didn't. He wasn't in the lane. Nobody was there. And you're like, yay.
So now,
but at the same time, there's a lot more like team in that stuff where you're really like, hey, you did your job. You did your job right there. That was perfect.
But then also and with that, it's like as they start doing that, and you see more and more like crosses go into the box where they should be, you're like, we keep putting those in there.
Those are like
somebody's going to connect with one.
And exactly.
And then they do.
And that goes back to the baseball thing where Dad's like talking that it's a failure sport. Soccer's a little bit that way too, in that you're you want to see the chances, because if you don't have if the chances
base
don't
hits, right?
if the chances don't develop, then we got nothing, right? But it's like, but if you have 10 moments where you're like, all right, hey, nice, good, one of some you're going to start converting, and I think that's kind of where it is. It's just different for baseball, where you're like, a guy went 0 for 4 and you're like, hey man, great at bat, and everybody would be like, what are you talking about? He went 0 for 4 for 4, and you're like, yeah, but he lined out twice, and another guy made a great play, and then another one was just a phenomenal pitch, low and away, he struck out looking. And where a baseball guy would be like, man, dude, tough day, but didn't go your way today, but hey, great job. Soccer, I think, is that same kind of way where you need this
maybe
chance.
that might be the only similarity, because you could have, how many times did, even the other night when we went to watch the Braves, they left people on strand, you have opportunities, but didn't, you're like, man, we had only one, I don't know what the count was, but we were like, man, we got guys on the corner. How did we not?
Yeah, we did nothing.
But you don't load the bases with 2 outs and the last guy strikes out and everybody's like, all right, boys, way to get after it. It's just different culture. Like, there's just a different,
Oh, I booed someone that day at the Braves game. Yeah, definitely booed him. So.
I noticed that something that was a strength for you guys is you played 4 years pretty much with the same team. I mean, I say teammates. What I mean is, wasn't there 12 or 14 of y'all that in your grade that played all?
It wasn't quite that many.
I don't remember the numbers.
10 or 11.
It was a good number.
It wasn't 14.
A good number. Okay, it was a good number. I do not remember that. And I remember one of the things at your last game, what I could tell is what you were going to miss was being on that team. You know what I'm saying? Not just missing playing baseball, but you're going to miss being on.
And you hear that from retired sports people, sports athletes all the time. They say, "What's the hardest part of leaving the game?" Like, the locker room is the hardest part, like the camaraderie and all that.
That's right.
And the people.
And that's not unique just to baseball.
Not at all.
But it includes it in baseball.
Yeah, for sure.
No, that's every sport.
So.
Chris, you got any final thoughts for us, baseball wise?
Baseball.
What's your?
Since you've been hanging around us more and doing a little bit of dabbling with us about baseball, are you understanding it anymore?
Heck no. But I
really no. I think you are.
But here's what I do remember. I don't know who the guy was, but this was back. in the WTBS Superstation. I never
Yeah,
understood
yeah,
the guy
yeah.
who wanted to. I thought it was the coolest thing. 7:35 Eastern, or 8:05. And I remember there was two teams that my granddad would watch: the Cincinnati Reds and the Atlanta Braves. And of course, that was back in the day where like you kind of watched what was on TV, right?
Yeah,
you didn't have any kind of like apps or anything, and so he would sit there and watch it. And there was something about those guys' voices that was very calming.
Yeah.
I don't know who did it for years for the Braves.
Milo Hamilton was one of
It
them.
was just amazing.
You're thinking he's talking TV.
TV.
on TV.
You're thinking like Skip Carey.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about baseball, but I really felt like they were good at what they did, because it could hold my attention and I didn't care about baseball.
Yeah.
And so to me, I think that was just a time that he was able to sit and.
There were some really good radio men back then. I mean, Vin Scully was one that did it for 60 years?
But
something like that.
If you're talking about the Braves, especially like Skip Carey,
Skip
probably
Carey.
the voice that you're thinking
You
of.
have that.
Ernie Jones.
You have that in every sport. People who like almost make the sport
legends.
accessible.
Yeah, who's the
Like I don't want to watch soccer if the guy doesn't have a British accent.
there's one specific guy too who does.
Oh yeah, I'll remember his name because I'm looking at his face right now.
For
on my
me and
brain.
you, Ian Dark.
Yeah, Ian Dark.
Yeah. And so like there's always like that one guy and like and basketball, I can't who's the guy?
Dick Vitale.
Basketball.
No.
Bang! Where's my like?
Mike Breen.
Yeah. He's not one. He's not the
is
best.
he the one who says bang?
I think so.
Okay.
He's not the best ever, but like Marv Albert is like yes.
That's
But Mike Breen's not like one of the greatest, considered the greatest. But like, give me that. It's like that guy's like the threes up in the air, let it drop, bang,
Yeah.
like that. It's always those guys, like the guys that
Keith
just kinda have a little
Jackson
something
was a
special.
big one for college football.
Yes.
You had like Al Michaels has been across like a couple of different sports, but he did some football for a long time and had the call on Miracle.
Bob Costas did a lot of baseball. He was really really good at baseball. Still is.
He
was
he lost me on one of his it was a more recent baseball call, but it's been a few years ago.
Gotcha.
And this pitcher was kind of struggling, and like Costas was like absolutely ruthless.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
I didn't hear.
You can find it on. You can look it up on YouTube. Yeah. And I was like, "Ooh, I had a bad day." Like absolutely.
Chill out, Bob.
ruthless.
Chill out,
Yeah.
Bob.
Yeah.
But to your point about the sounds and the sights, like those things, even though I knew nothing about the game, I could like walk into a room and it was almost like every mic was just put around the field at just the right place.
Yeah.
And their sound of their voice was just the resonance of it was just like it was almost perfect, and you put all those things together and it's like the culture of of
and there were
your
kind of
experience.
and a little bit different in baseball too is that like they were kind of there to spend the afternoon with you, like is almost kind of like how it felt, right?
Right.
Listening to a guy call baseball.
Absolutely.
I was going to say that in a different way. Exactly what you said, Eric. I think part of baseball is there's time to develop relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're watching the game, I cannot tell you how many young men I have heard through the years say, I sat down and watched WTBS with my grandpa. And it was something we did. It was like, it wasn't just an event. It was like a relationship almost. You know what I'm saying? Like this was something we shared but it kind of gives you that sense of being able to just kind of chill, with each other and talk and in the game and that kind of stuff. So
that was the one disappointing thing about. I had only been to a few Major League Baseball games, but like I felt like every single time you turned around the other night, it was like someone was trying to entertain you in some crazy
gotcha.
weird way. You know what I mean? And it was like. They were almost afraid. That might just be a cultural thing that we're experiencing now, but I just felt like I didn't need all that.
Interesting you brought that up, and we'll close out on this. There's a minor league team that is testing baseball only nights or what, I can't remember what they call it, but they don't play music. They don't play. There's no announcement. You just show up and they play the game in front of you with no ads, no nothing, whatever. And they've been apparently it's been getting pretty popular.
Yeah, and sports are doing that where they're like bringing the latest guy down there and interviewing him, and then this and the that and the races, and it's just a little bit dizzying to me.
So,
you know.
Well, appreciate y'all joining us for a little campfire conversation, honestly, talking about what we wanted to talk about. So, this has been another episode of Preacher in the Hat. It was actually Preacher in the Hat. My name, for Eric, Steve, I'm Derek, and Chris behind the cameras. Thank y'all for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.